Introducing Hosted IP Video, or HOIP Video, a revolution in video surveillance. Hosted IP video from ViproMobile is IP video taken to the clouds and to your hands. But before we get too far from Earth, let's start with some basics. First off, what is IP video? And all things being equal, and they never are, here is an overly simplistic view. Of course, there's cameras, and there'll be a server on every location that's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 7,000 RPMs. And that's doing all the video processing, and that puts it to the internet with your bandwidth and then to your display devices. And overall, that's overly simplistic. But let's look and see if you had 4 systems. You'd have a bevy of cameras. You'd have 4 separate servers and various internet feeds pushing out to various display devices. And I'd like to have you think about it in a different way. Let's think about where you actually invest your money in these systems. You know, the camera systems are all over the map. There are times when you'd be unwise not to invest in a quality camera. However, there are many options with cameras that are largely affordable. And internet connectivity is increasingly affordable. It kind of depends on where you are and, of course, the level of competition in your area. But the price of internet connectivity has been going down. And the display devices often last for multiple generations of camera times. But it's the servers themselves, the servers on site with each location, that takes up the biggest chunk of your initial investment. Well, and of course, if you have 1 camera or 14 camera systems, that gets to be a large chunk of money over the course of time. And now let's take a look at what happens when parts of your system break or become obsolete over the course of time, and the long-term ramifications. You know, obviously, if any one camera dies, that's not a big deal. Cameras they're largely reliable, but they're replaceable, they're universal. There's a large supply of them, and they're affordable. And as far as a red flag for costs in the future, not that big of a deal. Internet bandwidth, again, it does depend on where you live, what part of the country you're in, but it's increasingly affordable, and broadband is becoming very ubiquitous. So not much of a red flag. Now, if you happen to be in Kansas City, where ViproMobile is, and have a difficult time with getting affordable high-speed internet, we have options there too, which we can talk about. And the displays themselves last for many generations and aren't too expensive. But it's the server, and that's where the money is over the course of time. And one more thing about this internet bandwidth. It's still expensive, but it's not like it used to be just 5 years ago, when even renting a T1 line was very, very terribly expensive. So when we look at where the money is at the initial investment, and when we look at what money causes upgrades, it leads us to hosted IP video, or HOIP video. And let's go ahead and look at this side by side. These are overly simplistic views, but with current IP video, you have cameras to a server to the internet to your devices. And hosted IP video, or HOIP video, basically takes the camera and puts them into a router, and takes all of the camera feeds and runs them directly to ViproMobile. And your video is hosted on our cloud. And so what we're doing is we're swapping out a more expensive thing with lots of moving parts for something that's more simple and lower cost and more effective. Because once we have your video on our cloud, we can put it to any device, and since we are ViproMobile, we can add the mobile device to it. So we can take the same content and put it into mobile devices, and we're going to talk more about that later. But what HOIP video does is it removes the expense largely of the servers, or lowers it, and adds connectivity for all your cameras for significant and immediate and long-term savings for your surveillance needs. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to see what's life like after the server. And the best way to really unleash HOIP video is the mobile connectivity. Because again, once your video is on our cloud, we can push it anywhere. And so let's say you were in the hospitality industry and you were at the home office and you needed to see what was happening at one of your subsidiaries, or maybe one camera or all of the cameras. You'd be able to do that, and you'd be able to do that from any computer. And that's kind of a nice thing about IP video, but taking it mobile adds a whole other level, because we're able to take that and put that into the cell phones of your busy managers or regionals or supervisors, wherever you need these signals to go. And the thing is, we can also take these signals and use them for your guests. Like, let's say it's a hospitality property and you want to have a surveillance camera of the parking lot. You may want that. You may want to have an in-room camera of some cameras. And you're thinking, surveillance for a vacation property? Well, maybe not, but maybe as long as we're installing these low-cost or these affordable IP video cameras, we can put one pointing out to the beach, and we can take that signal and put it onto a mobile website or the website of the company themselves to help them market better. So let's look at the big picture. Um, Really, we're going to be taking thousands of cameras and bringing them into ViproMobile and then pushing them out to 1,000 devices. And the market is very large. We have an expertise in the hospitality market by serving over 200 hospitality markets today. But also schools would be interested, as well as quick service restaurants, in low-cost, affordable, and flexible ways to get surveillance. And the thing is, when you have a server in a tough environment like a quick service restaurant, it's very demanding on them, and they have a very short life cycle because of it. But any company who needs cameras, from commercial real estate to industrial or manufacturing and warehousing facilities, and even including retailing for sure. So the sky is the limit. So if this were such a good deal, wouldn't there be more companies doing hosted IP video? And surprisingly, the answer is no. And there are 3 reasons. And the number one, most important one, is because bandwidth has been historically expensive. Look, if we're going to be taking thousands of cameras and taking all of these images, these megapixel cameras pushing gigabits to and from us at a high bandwidth cost makes it untenable. And we'd be asking our clients to pay $20 a month per camera, and it's just not feasible. So that's the main reason. But because of that, a mass market hosted IP video product has never really been created. Because fundamentally, when you think about it, if we're taking thousands of cameras and putting them to one location and then pushing them out to other thousands, that is fundamentally different than taking 14 cameras and putting them onto a server on one location and then dumping that. So it takes a lot of time to develop this software. And then the third thing is this. Hosted IP video is going to create a new set of winners and losers. Look, people who need camera systems, they will benefit with lower startup costs and less moving parts. But those who make a living selling new servers every 5 to 7 years, which is virtually everybody in the security and surveillance industry, they will lose. And that is why ViproMobile is here. What we've been doing is, since the beginning of the 21st century, we have been providing IP video surveillance coast to coast and around the globe. And through our network of distributors indirectly, we have over 200 IP video installations worldwide. And here's a 10% sampling here. But what we've done is, by working with large, high-visibility clients, and many of them are military contractors, we've learned how to build IP video systems that are bulletproof and under very high scrutiny. We are building large enterprise-level software designed to support hundreds of camera feeds. So the next step is scaling ingenious. So while we developed and integrated these tools, our Terrio IP camera software worldwide, we were quietly crafting the software needed to leap to hosted IP video, or HOIP video. We were waiting for the time when bandwidth dropped enough to make the economics work. And Vipro was developed and lives in Kansas City, USA, also the first town and the home of Google Fiber. And with fiber and all the competition that brings and other technologies, we are certainly up to date in Kansas City, including the cost of bandwidth. So the time for HOIP video is now. Introducing ViproMobile. Thank you.